Welcome to day 4 of BLOCK-Vember. Today we are talking about people pleasing. So people pleasing tends to be a very common problem, and it's one that is filled with insecurity and fear. People pleasers tend to sacrifice their own wants, needs, and opinions. So this ensures that others will approve and like them. But when you neglect yourself in this way and live in constant fear of what others think, it only drains you physically. And it really does take a toll on your mental health. So I'm going to just go over the 5 ways that affects your mental health, and then we'll cover how to actually release it. So, number 1, you are dealing with a high level of stress. As a people pleaser, your inability to say no will have you adding even more tasks and responsibilities that you don't even want to do to your already full plate. So this could mean taking on responsibilities at work or in your business, just saying yes, or saying yes to a night out, even though you're in the middle of a launch and you'd rather stay in. Either way, consistently putting others first ahead of your own wants and needs will eventually send your stress level off the chart. So instead of saying yes to a whole bunch of things you don't want to do, decide what makes you happy and say yes to that instead. So if you do want to go out in the middle of a launch, you really do it. If you don't, stay in. Number 2, depression. So when you put all of your energy into making everyone else happy, you aren't being true to yourself. Your wants, needs, likes, opinions, all that goes out the window, and you try to edit yourself to fit whoever it is you're trying to please. It's extremely stressful to put on a show and keep up appearances and give 110% of yourself to someone else because you feel like you need their approval. This makes it very easy to slip into depression and loneliness because you neglect who and what really matters, which is you. 3, resentment. So when you're holding on to this resentment because you spend most of your time caring and pleasing for others without getting much in return, it really settles in deep to your core. So on the surface, you may be full of smiles and yeses. However, behind closed doors, it's a different story. So you start to resent yourself for giving so much and also resent others for not caring enough to return the favor. So if you don't change this pattern or this course, it's just a dead-end road that will lead to frustration, discontent, and unhappiness. 3, you end up losing yourself, not knowing who you are, because you're so focused on pleasing other people, you begin to sacrifice your own identity, losing who you really are. So changing yourself to fit in for the approval of others causes you to stop walking your own path and taking theirs instead. This leads to like this internal struggle that leaves you feeling drained, frustrated, and uncertain about who you are and what you want. And it will also impact your close relationships and your client relationships because you spend so much time placing your energy in the wrong area or in the wrong corner. And then number 5, anxiety. So the longer you put the needs of others in front of you, in front and center, the more anxiety you're going to have. If you're a chronic people pleaser, you tend to worry constantly about being good enough, fitting in, and being accepted by those around you. So For this reason, your imperfections and mistakes are just magnified at all times, and you become your own worst critic. This alone can cause your anxiety to go through the roof because you feel like you don't measure up to the image that everyone expects. So you are constantly just posting and wondering what people think, or you are going live and worried about comments or what others think. People pleasing can really impact your mental health, and all of these things combined is what eventually leads to burnout. And I wanted to share something. When I started to record more TikTok videos and I started to have mutual follows with certain people with large followings, it kind of I've put pressure on myself to create certain content because I'm like, oh, if I post this, maybe they might unfollow me, or they might not like me. And so I was really limiting myself and losing who I was in my content. And my views started to actually go down because I wasn't being my authentic self. And then I saw a few people posting stuff and they didn't really align with who they said that they were, because they would judge a lot of other accounts on TikTok. And so I was fearing that they would judge me and then no one would like me. But then I would see that they would turn around and support people that did those things, that those accounts that they would be judging, they were just hypocritical. And so I realized that no one is actually perfect and no one should be judging anyone, and I shouldn't allow others to judge me. So that I really let go of that pattern of people pleasing on social media. So let's talk about how it actually leads to business burnout. Because number one, you start avoiding conflict. You're making sure everything and everyone around you goes smoothly for everyone else. So this includes your clients. Like if you're running a group coaching program and people can't make it at a certain time, you start trying to change the schedule and it's very confusing. And then you're frustrated because you have plans. You have to just put your foot down and say, no, this is the schedule. If you can't make it, you catch the replay. That's just an example. Two, because your own needs are really met, it becomes really tough to get ahead. You just don't have the energy. And you need energy to create ideas, to think on your feet, to innovate. And so you're just going to be stuck doing the same things and then eventually lose ground as the leader in your industry because you're too busy trying to please everyone else that you don't have the energy to innovate. Three, you easily forget who you are, and your actions and your thoughts tend to reflect those people around you. So you get lost in the crowd. You no longer can set yourself apart from other coaches, healers, or consultants. Any of those other people you become, and then sometimes you become a chameleon to blend in, terrified of standing out. So how can your ideal aligned clients find you this way? Then you fall behind on work because you take on the work of others. So you hired a team or this VA, have them do these things for you. You hired them to do it. Or if you're doing a joint venture with another business owner, make sure that you're splitting the work equally. And then there's superficial self-talk. You're filled with doubt. It's not your voice you hear. So let's talk about how to spot it, just in case you can't really move forward immediately. So the next step is to spot it, so that you can easily stop it. So you can ask yourself, how much of your work are you really getting done? What have you been doing instead? And if the answer is doing things that you don't actually want to do or doing things that you shouldn't be doing for other people, then stop it. I remember when I first started out, people would inquire about my services or ask me questions. And if I didn't provide that service or if I didn't do that, I would kind of go above and beyond and find the link or find someone for them. When it's like, that's not my job. If you need help, you should seek help. I shouldn't stop what I'm doing to find all these resources when you could be doing it yourself. And oftentimes those people don't even use those resources that you send them. So I spent all that time doing that for nothing. And I know that people kind of reward or celebrate people pleasers. Like, yes, she went above and beyond, but what's a retweet, a like, or Instagram story when you're tired and burnt out? That means nothing. I realized that I cared less about likes and retweets and shout outs when my health was at risk. So too bad, you might get less shout outs or martyr posts, but you're going to be happy, healthy, and wealthy. Oops. Double. Now, how to stop people pleasing. People pleasing typically evolves as a survival mechanism. So if you grew up in a household, or if you were in an environment like corporate where you try to constantly soothe conflict, it's a pattern. It becomes a pattern that you're used to. So you're going to have to unlearn a lot of things and spot those patterns so you can stop it. So the first thing is basically just realizing that you don't have to do it. You really cannot do everything. A lot of small business owners often think that they're supposed to do everything, especially if they have an online business. And it makes sense to hire help if you own a brick and mortar business, right? So it's a harder sale for people working from home as a digital marketer, coach, or healer. And especially if you're doing what you love, you oftentimes are like, oh no, I can just do it all. But the fact is, not only do you not have to do everything, you shouldn't have to do everything. No CEO ever does all their work, no successful CEO at least. They come up with ideas and pass on tasks to experts who churn the ideas out fast due to their expertise. Due to that, they tend to make more money without burning out. And I posted that tweet when I said, your time and energy is more valuable than the money. And then here's the thing, I should have added that you actually make more money this way. Now, 2, you should know your mission in life, right? Your purpose. So you can understand what your overall life goals are. You can be general in terms of the goals for your entire life, of course, but having this general header of what your mission is and what your purpose is will make it easier to make harder decisions. Like, this does not align with my purpose. This does not align with my overall mission. Why am I doing this? For example, I plan to help people with mental health. Why do I need to be a master at Canva? Because one of the arguments people are saying, I would rather learn to do it myself. Okay, so if you plan on being a doctor or a psychiatrist or an engineer or all these other things, why must you know how to master Canva? Why must you know how to master video editing, Photoshop? That's not really aligned with your mission. You're just adding more work. And then the next thing you need to do is learn how to say yes slowly. When someone asks something new of you, don't say yes or no. Say you'll think about it, and then give them a time where you'll get back to them. If they cannot wait, then the answer just defaults to no without you having to say no. This gives you time to evaluate the task that you need to be successful in the project, and say yes only if it really aligns with your principles, morals, values, and mission. I was doing a lot of podcast interviews last year, but then it was really burning me out, so I pulled back. So this year, whenever I get a request, I have my team like check their Instagram page. If they're not even following me, if I don't even recognize the name, I definitely have my team check their page. Sometimes they're not even following me. They just want to have a guest on and they want me to promote their podcast. And that energy is not fulfilling to me. It doesn't fill me up. It doesn't light me up. But if I recognize the name and this person has been rooting for me, has been sharing my content, has been filling up my cup, then I'm happy to pour into them, happy to sit and talk to them. And you have to start setting boundaries with your time. One way to say yes more without getting burnt out is to compartmentalize and schedule your time better. For example, if you really want to help feed the homeless, but you're strapped for time, just let the organization know that you can either donate money or you can spend time from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. once a week only. Remember that doing something in conjunction with others adds up, and you don't have to take on every project or cause on your own by yourself. Set time boundaries and do a little, and it's always enough. Next, you have to drop manipulators from your life. Everyone has someone in their life that will try to make them feel guilty for not doing what they want you to do. If you have someone like that in your life who just revolts when you reclaim your time, it's time to let them go from your life. And if they are family, then you really need to just limit their access to you. This isn't something that is mean or that has to be announced. Just slowly separate yourself from the situation by consistently saying no. They'll get used to it. And try to keep your empathy intact. When you start learning to stand up for yourself in your own time, it can feel as if you don't care about others to yourself. And some people might say that to you. You're just used to being the one that helps everyone and is always available. And it will feel hard at first, but realize that you're cognizant of putting your health first, your principles, morals, and values next, and keep that impact of your actions, and you'll be fine. You'll be fine, and people will see that. And then you have to realize that you can't be everything to everyone. Even Superman couldn't. It's just the fact of life, and you're only one person with limited time, just like everyone else. There is no prize at all for ruining your life or health to be everything to everyone. Literally, people at your funeral will be like, oh, she was great, she was always there for me, and then they'll go to the party, eat some food, and move on with their lives while you went to an early grave. Plus, you'll fail because it's impossible to be everything to everyone. So you're going to be juggling, and soon you just let everyone down, including yourself. So instead of trying to be everything to everyone, be everything to yourself and kind to everyone else without laying down your life for them. Once you accept that you don't have to be a people pleaser to be a kind and caring human being, it will become much easier for you to set the boundaries you need to set in order to become successful in your business, your job, and your relationships. Okay? So the next steps after watching this training is to start to reprogram your beliefs with the affirmations for people pleasing. They're on this site and linked below. And then you can also reprogram with subliminals. There's the Stop People Pleasing subliminal set that you can get. And then there is also the Activate Your Boundaries Self-Hypnosis system. So those are the resources to get you started to release this pattern of people pleasing and activate your boundaries and take back your power and your life. All right. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I will see you in the next training.